Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm multitasking. I hope it's okay if I don't have a camera on. Is that all right?
That's okay, Diane. Well, thanks for saying hi. Nice to
Thank
see you.
you.
That's okay. Yeah.
Ne-
It- mm.
yeah, it's 5 p.m. Actually, it's 6 p.m. And I'm being mom at the same time of being the AI aficionado. So I'm just doing my best. I appreciate your understanding. All
It's
right.
cool. Well, I call that showing up, Diane. So that's really cool. You're here and you can do it all. It's really cool. Hi, Raquel. How are you?
Hey,
Hey.
hi.
You look all nice and warm and summery. I'm like, oh, it's so cold.
Which is shocking because it's foggy and rainy here today, even though the weather's nice. I mean, the temperature's nice. It's still foggy and rainy.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, guys. Did you remind me if you both met Monica on the last call that we had, or do you guys want to do any intros? You were,
Yes,
yeah,
it was in a previous one.
yeah, no, that's cool. So really awesome to have Monica join us. Hi, Monica. Jumping on
Hello.
and helping us with automations and techie things, and I'm sure I've got as many questions as everybody else does actually. I was just double checking school to see if we had any other questions or input from the audience, just to see if there's any calls from the community for Monica. So, what do you two have any particular questions or something that you would either like help with working on, want to ask Monica about? So this, yeah,
I
Um,
don't have any particular questions. Just wanted to be here to check it out.
that's cool. Go.
Okay. I thought today we can have a little bit of a chat about what is an agent, what is an automation, what is a bot, because something that I see a lot is how loose people are with different terms. Um, like for example, I work with someone and she calls everything, it doesn't matter what it is, she calls it a GPT. And I always get confused because I'm like, it's not a GPT, it's that other thing. And she goes, yeah, I know, but so um, people can get extremely confused as to what you're referring to. And also, a lot of the ads you see on Facebook specifically are very misleading because they're telling you that this is one thing, but when you buy it, it's something completely different. You know, you go and
Mm.
buy, a team of agents, and then when you open it up, it's a team of just very simple automations, linear automations that don't think for themselves. Diana, you have a question?
I do. So thank you. So thank you for bringing that up because I'm learning the differences. Okay, so for example, I'm not sure if what you mean by automation can be interpreted as a persona because I hear that term too.
Okay,
I'm,
so uh,
thank you.
yeah, so let's be super clear. A persona is generally a sentient being, which our AI is not yet. So when people talk about persona, they're talking about the role they're giving to that AI. And that's kind of what the persona is. Like when you say you are a award-winning copywriter, that's the persona. But I also have a few slides that I want to show you the actual difference, as you know, between these a few things, and that will probably allow you to understand it a little bit better. And then also, there's only like 5 slides or something like that, and then I'll stop, and then we can have a bit more conversation about that stuff.
Thank
Um,
you. No, thank you.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah, absolutely. It's extremely confusing. Even I get confused when I read stuff and listen to stuff, and I'm like, what exactly are you talking about? And sometimes I have bought things just to see if what they say is what they sell. And if me as an expert in tech and automations and agents and all that is getting confused, can you imagine the rest of the population?
And, speaking to that, my idea is I have a retail dog business. Okay. So I'm trying to sell, I have my hand in affiliate marketing. My very first LLC was to sell dog accessories. Okay.
Hmm?
So, but I don't have time to go through this tedious task of like having to go through all the inventory out of like, I have a merchant and it's called Doba. They're very popular. And it's just tedious to have to go through each and every single bit of inventory. So like an idea that I'm thinking of would be, well, I could have AI do this for me. Maybe it can do that job for me and I can write the prompt such that it acts as an OEM. So, I mean, that's an idea out of the top of my head. Is that then a type of persona or not? So like, I'm very curious about.
That will probably be pure automation. So if something is checking your inventory and going, against a database and goes, yeah, you need to order this, you're low on this. That's just automation. That's a linear thing that has very specific rules. It's not a person.
Well, thank you for pointing that out because people are calling it personas. I mean, listen, it seems like a great idea because it would look different things. I mean, who wouldn't want to be 10 people at once, right? Like you could be literally at several different things at once. But yeah, I appreciate this, your presentation. I didn't want to take up any more time. So
no, you can take as much time as you want, but like all the things that we hear are marketing gimmicks to sell you stuff. Let's be very, very clear. Everything that you see out in the open. So if you're like, when you're buying things, you have to be aware of what you're buying. When you're building stuff for yourself, you have to be aware of what you're building. And if you decide to building stuff for consult for other people, then you have to be 3 times more careful, because if people pay you a lot of money, they'll be very pissed off when you sell them something that you call it an agent, and then it's a custom GPT or, a bot or whatever that is. But yeah, let me just share one of them is between them, and then we'll come back and we'll have a bit more chat. Okay, you guys can see my screen?
Yeah, got that. That's cool. I like that picture.
Of autonomy and initiative. And as we move from left to right, and moving to the right across the spectrum, where at some point we may just be the people where the AI will just ask us a couple of questions and then will do everything for us without any input from us. It will be like, it will have everything from our brain, but we're not there yet. Because like, as you see, we started with ChatGPT 2.5 years ago, where we had to prompt. Then we had custom GPTs where we prompted and it did stuff for us. Then we went through automations. Then we went through bots. Then we went through voice bots. Then went through agents. So everything's moving so fast, and the levels of independence of those AIs and the levels of decision-making capabilities are increasing by the day. So what is an automation? An automation has a trigger. So something has to happen to trigger that automation and to initiate the process. Then it has very specific rules that are determined by logic and by actions. And then you have the final action, which is the result, which is a predefined result. And all automations are very much rule-based and deterministic systems that follow a trigger and an action pattern with usually zero conversation between human and AI. They're really good when you have processes that you're doing manually currently. There are a bit, I call them monkey brain processes, that an automation can make it faster, better, more predictable, and more efficient. So this is usually where we remove humans. And they're really good for straightforward tasks. For example, what we are talking about, the inventory, that will be a perfect way. If you have a spreadsheet or if you have a database with all your products, and as people buy, your database changes the number of items you have, and then you have an automation that triggers every single day, goes and looks through all the products, and it's set up to fire up if there's a product that has, for example, 3 items left, and you've set up the rules. If I only have 3 items left, I need to order more. So that automation will highlight these products, and then it will probably send you an email or say a Slack message or something saying, here are all the products that need to be ordered. So this is a very simple automation that can just trigger on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Then we have bots. So bots are the things we see on websites, the things we chat with, the things that call you and try to sell you something, the things that answer phones like AI receptionists. So they usually have a chat interface, a voice interface, or some form of a form interface. Most of the bots you would see still are predefined conversation patterns. So if the user says that, you say this. They are quite simple. They're easy to create, but the new types of bots that are coming in, they not only have these underlying rule-based actions, but they're also connected to database with custom knowledge, and they can learn. Basically, bots are that UI layer, which is a user interface layer, which is the chat voice form on top of an automation. And this automation, if it's predefined, it's generally, I don't know if you guys have seen ManyChat, where you have, this is what the user will ask, and then we draw a line and we connect it to an answer. This is really good for frequently asked questions, for example. But then the strength lies in being approachable for end users who prefer interfaces where bots can be smarter. And when they're smarter, you link them to your proprietary custom knowledge into the bot. When a user asks a question, the bot actually goes and search for answers into this database. It's not predetermined answer. It goes and looks. So if I go to the bot of a restaurant and I say, hey, what are your specials this Friday? And these specials change every Friday. You don't want to go and mess up with the automation on the back end. You can just load up into your database specials for Friday, and you can put the date, for example. I don't know, I'm just pulling stuff off the top of my head. So when you ask about the specials, the bot will go to this database and will go, oh, this Friday we have this special, and it will pull this down. But also, if you have a bot where it's a customer service or a sales bot, and people are asking questions that are not loaded into that database, you can grab these questions, and the bot would probably answer to the best of its abilities. But if you wanted to be smart and learn, you will grab these questions, you will create answers for these questions and you will load them into that database. So the database grows and your bot gets smarter and smarter. So this is what a bot is. And the agents, now agents are still in its infancies. And a lot of the things, yes, we call them agents, but they still cannot be completely autonomous. So think every sci-fi movie. Think of C-3PO from Star Wars. We cannot have robots like this, or anything like the Star Trek, Android that everybody talks to. But generally, they gather information from the environment, and they can go and look for databases. They can get information from a form that the user fills in. They can go and do some research, but then they plan on the best approach of the goal. They execute chosen actions via tools, and then they can evaluate. Now, this is the best scenario for an agent. However, most of our agents are much simpler in their current form. And the best uses of agents is when you need to have something as a brain. So you have a large language model that uses the brain. Then you can have memory. So if you're chatting with this agent, it can remember what is being said, so it can continue the conversation naturally. And then you have a set of tools that this agent can choose from. For example, if you have an assistant that looks after your email and your calendar, so you can talk to your agent, say through Telegram, and you can say, hey, can you tell me what appointments do I have today? So it will choose, it may have lots and lots of tools, but it will choose the tool that checks your calendar. And it will use this tool, and it will say, you have these appointments today. And then you can be like, oh, I cannot make my 2:00 appointment. Can you change it to 3:00? And then can you send an email to the person that I have that appointment with to let them know that the appointment has been changed. So the agent, number one, will go, it will use another tool, it will go and it will change the hour of the meeting. Then it will use another tool to get the email and send an email to that person. And then it will tell you, I've done all that stuff. So these are a lot of the agents that we use at the moment. Now, some of the more complex agents are what we call multi-agent collaboration, where we have a team of agents that are handling complex workflows, and you have generally like one agent that tells everybody what to do, which is like the conductor. That's what I've heard called like a lot of the times, a conductor. Like OpenAI released Agents SDK quite a few weeks ago, and they actually showed, they actually showed how it works, and they put that agent on a e-com website. And what they did is they went and they wanted to purchase jackets. So the conductor sent from the backend, sent the agent that will do the purchasing. So everything is through a chat. Like they didn't go and click on an item and then go to a cart and all that. Everything was happening in that chat. So they said, we want to buy 100 jackets. And the buying agent bought 100 jackets. Then they said, oh shit, we bought too many jackets. Can we return some of them? And the conductor sent the agent that deals with returns, who said, yeah, how many would you like to return? And they went through the chat. And then they said, well, now that we've returned all these jackets, can we get a refund? And the conductor sent them the refund agent who dealt with that. Because these sub-agents, they're all meant to do one thing and do one thing very, very well. So this is how these teams of agents work well together into one massive agent, multi-agent collaboration or multi-agent framework. So this is agents, and here's the quick comparison. So trigger style automations are usually event or schedules. Bots are usually based on user message or a call. And AI agents are based on goals and objectives. The logic for them is with automation is fixed rules. You can't really have the automation thing for itself. With the bot, you have a scripted dialogue and rules or database of custom knowledge and learning capabilities. And with AI agents, you can have them as autonomous reasoning and learning entities. The user
Can I ask a
interface.
question?
Yeah, of course.
So on that last point, autonomous reasoning and learning. So say you have that set up, but you want to adjust it because you feel that it's somehow off or going broader than you expected, or it's taking action that you didn't anticipate. How do you reel that in after you've given the autonomous? Is there a way to reel that back if you find that it's too broad?
Well, all the agents that we build at the moment have prompts. They have system prompts and they have user prompts. So you have to
Mhm.
use the prompts to reel them into what you want them to do. But the autonomous reasoning is more of, should I use the calendar tool or should I use the calculator based on what is coming through? The data that is coming through will allow them to decide, that's the autonomous reasoning, what tool to use.
Okay. But what if something happens? I'm sorry. What if something happens that you didn't anticipate? I mean, autonomous reasoning, it's using certain tools, but it gains knowledge and knowledge and knowledge. What if it surpasses what you expected? Is that, I don't mean to be like Star Trekky in here, but I mean, is there a way to just reel it in within your systems, like setting change, so that it goes back to what you originally intended? Or
Again,
maybe
you
we
can do
haven't
this.
seen that happen yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't seen it happen yet. Like, I haven't seen anything going off the rails.
Okay,
Like,
thanks.
I personally don't have experience with that. But again, you have to fine tune your prompts to a point of where,
Mhm.
you like, if, for example, you don't want your AI to go and do autonomous research on its own, you'll say that in the instructions. You
Mhm.
have rules. You cannot do any research unless authorized by a human or
Mm.
something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the agents that we use for example, for coaches that use them as a second brain, and they're like, oh, you can talk to my clone anytime you want. Those agents are using vector databases where everything from that coach is loaded in there and everything keeps getting loaded. So then when one of the clients asks a question, then the autonomous reasoning will be, I'm going to go into this database and I'm going to choose specific things that I think are relevant to this question rather than this is how you're going to answer with this exact script.
I'd love to see a real example of that at some point because I feel like you know how you have dialogue back and forth with one of the
Yeah.
chats, chat GPT or whatever you're using. And I just wonder if is there dialogue created where it says, you've asked me to do this, but it's wrong. You really have to do this. I mean, will it get to that level where it challenges, or will it actually follow verbatim what you're putting in there? I guess that's just a query for the future, but
Yeah, I
it
don't
just
know.
makes you wonder.
I
Okay.
don't know. I
I
don't know.
think
Who knows?
I think
Who knows? Yeah, Diana.
so. I'm not a ChatGPT expert, but I still believe, Dawn. I'm kind of with you where I have to know what I want, right? I think
Hmm.
I believe in what it reproduces. And it also will prompt me, and this depends which one, because again, we're talking just about ChatGPT, but we should also consider the other ones. There's Claude, there's Perplexity, and sometimes it depends which what you're using. It might probe you for more
Right, but
direction.
that's creation from dialogue back and forth, right? Where this is something that's outside of that dialogue. And so what if a company doesn't do an accurate prompt? What if it's too vague? That's where we could be headed as more companies take this agents on. Do they really know how to set those parameters that Monica's talking about? Or will they get into deep poo poop because they don't know really how to rail it in? And so where are we going to be a year from now when people have 5 agents in their company? And do they really know what they're
Well,
doing?
that's where you start hiring professionals to do it for you.
Exactly. Right.
No, and like that's kind of why I think it's silly yet to just say, sure, I'm going to fire all of my marketing department and just have bots do it for that very same reason. I mean,
Right.
I think like I'm in the belief, call me naive, I still work in corporate. So you have to be really, really careful before you can just hand this off. Like, and I guess maybe it's also the type of work I do. I do nonprofit work, but we also accept funding, public funding, right? So these are
Hmm.
things that you can't mess up on. Like you really cannot mess this up. So maybe I'm under the belief that you don't make it supercharged unless you know it is doing its job. And you see what I'm trying to say? Like, I wonder how naive I
Yeah, I get
actually
it. Yeah,
am.
absolutely.
And I'm thinking, like, if you know what you're doing and this affects your business and affects your bottom line, you need to make sure that it's doing its job right before you could just
Well,
say, oh,
look at the example of a CRM, for example, and you give it access. And in that CRM, you just have, all of their personal information, address, phone, all of that. And you may actually say, he has a birthday on this date, the child has a birthday. And then all of a sudden, that's now accessed. And could that somehow be used in a way that you didn't intend? Because you're just saying, well, we're just having them update the CRM, no big deal. So there you've got all the PII in there on the customers. And so that's where you take it to the nth degree and think, okay, could it go beyond what our people that set it up intended? I know I'm playing devil's advocate here, but it's kind of that's where we are with this is the year of agentic AI, and I don't think the average person knows what the heck that means. It's
Correct. But
action. It's action. It's not just dialogue. It's not just creating a report. It's taking action in your data. That's a big change, I
yes,
think.
so some platforms like N8N, they have specific nodes that are called
Hmm.
crypto that encrypt data,
Hmm.
for example.
Right.
Now, when we're
Yeah.
talking about firing full departments, I don't think that we're there yet. So what I do when I work with businesses that actually have departments and they don't have like one person doing everything, um, I generally put everything people do, all processes and all systems in 3 silos. The first silo is human only. So these are things that only humans can do. Like
Hmm.
if your department, say your marketing department, has to talk face to face on Zoom with people to gather data, you cannot have a bot or an agent do it. So this is the human part. We cannot change that. And it slots into the whole infrastructure. The next
Hmm.
silo is the human plus AI. So what are the things that AI can do, but cannot execute unless a human says so? So it still does the heavy lifting, but it sits with the result until a human looks over it and says, that's good to go. And then the third
Okay.
silo is the monkey brain processes that any AI will do. And it's usually for internal processes or It could be for, say, creating content or or analyzing data. So we always need to look at these things. And when you look at an infrastructure, then you kind of see the whole, how the whole system works with everybody in the loop, both the human and the AI in the loop. Now, there are specific tasks where humans can be replaced with, but I don't think that full departments can be just removed. Like even the big tech companies that remove their developers, they still leave, say, 3 or 4 developers to work with the AI rather than having 20 developers doing manual coding. They'll have the AI do the coding, and then all the 3 or 4 developers will go over and do and make sure that everything is all right. So
Definitely interesting. Yeah.
yeah. But let me finish with the rest of the slides and then we can have a
Oh,
bit more
sure. I didn't
chat.
mean to cut off your
So,
flow. Sorry.
oh, that's fine. So the user interface with automations, there's usually no interface. With a bot is a chat, voice, or form. And with the AI agents, it's optional, but often it's a headless thing, at least for now. The adaptability, automations always have those those rules that can be only updated manually. A bot can grow with new data, grow in knowledge with new data, and an agent can learn from interactions. This is where I was talking about when you have the second brain and when you have the backwards and forwards, and the agent starts learning certain things. And the next time somebody asks them that question, they can answer in a better way. And automations are best for high volume repetitive tasks. Bots are great for frequently asked questions, customer support, and sales. And AI agents are best for complex multi-step goals. All right. And of course, we need to decide on the right solution. So if we want speed and cost requirements, automations are often the fastest execution and have the lowest operational costs, while agents require a lot more processing time, a lot more fine tuning, a lot more reasoning, and a lot more training. Also, when we look at task complexity, simple repetitive tasks, again, automations are the best, while complex and variable task benefits from AI agents adaptability. When we're talking about user interaction, then we are more than likely looking at a bot with some sort of an interface, and you can also have some sort of an automation running in the background powering this bot. For example, it can be connected to a vector database, and it can have an automation that connects the two of them. When we're talking about scale and predictability, high volume predictable process favor automations, while unique and nuanced situations call for AI agents. But again, AI agents are a lot more unpredictable and they need much, much longer to fine tune than a simple automation. And here's some real world applications for automations. We can scrape data, we can have scheduled report generation, and we can have any data processing and analyzing. With bots, frequently asked questions, customer support, sales assistant, appointment setter. For agents, complex research task, multitask management, multi-agent system. This is what I was talking about, a central master orchestrator agent that is responsible for the overall strategy, task allocation, coordination, and monitoring. And most of the times when you look, I don't look anymore at a single workflow being the solution to a problem. I've started looking at the overall thing. We may start with one thing, but at the end of the day, we want to create full infrastructures that actually work for our business, which usually means that a lot of the times we need to combine one or more or 3 or 4 different things together to create that infrastructure. And I've got just one more slide. Basically, you need to identify the processes. And last time, guys, when we talked, I gave you this Excel sheet where you can write all the tasks you do every day. And then you had some conditions like, is it repetitive? Does it take long? Do you enjoy doing it? And all that. And then you can see which task you can start looking at automating. And of course, you have to look at complexity, frequency, user interaction. And as I said, start simple, start with one simple solution that will replace one single thing, or that will help a human do one thing better, faster, and more efficient. And build your confidence in building and using, or in using if somebody else is building them for you, those solutions before you move to more complex infrastructures. And then you have the layer capabilities, like, for example, the bot interface with existing automations where user interaction would add value. And always, before you move on or before you say, yeah, this is really good, measure and refine. Because some things that work really well when you build them may not work that well when you start stress testing them, or when they have to process volume. So a lot of the times there's a lot of things that can break while you're testing. So it doesn't, if you want solutions that are really, really good, it does take time, and testing and using it by users to continue fine-tuning and upgrading and updating and doing everything to make the solution really, really well structured and really well working. Okay, that's it for my slides. So what happened? I lost my Zoom.
I had a few questions in the chat, Monica, that I think you've since answered
okay.
since I posted them, but just
I
really,
am
really simple, because I've got
looking.
some businesses going, oh, look, I want an AI, like customer service bot, avatar, chat bot. What can we put on our website? How can we automate stuff? And it's great that you raised up the languaging, so I'm really clear how we're differentiating what it is they're asking for. They want like an avatar with a face that's a chat bot. I know some people have that, but is that still a bot? Because it's a bot with a face. It's still a chat bot that learns from customer service responses, right? So we've got some people asking for that. And when you were saying an agent, because people do say GPTs, they've made them be agents, but also agents are like complex agents. So they're like two different things, but
Okay, so let's talk about custom GPTs, because they've been called anything. Bots,
everything.
agents, automation, they've been called everything.
Yeah.
To me, custom GPTs are assistants, and I'll tell you why. Think of ChatGPT, like the whole ChatGPT, as a math book. And you can learn everything about math just by chatting to just chatting to ChatGPT. But you're like, well, what if I have some super specific questions and I want you to do something super fast in algebra? So then you're taking all the knowledge from your math book, and you're putting it in your little sub book that is called algebra. And this is your little assistant that will help you with algebra. Because custom GPTs, they cannot be taken out of the ChatGPT environment. You cannot put them on your website. You cannot embed them anywhere. You cannot do anything. You have to go to ChatGPT and open a custom GPT. So to me, these are ChatGPT assistants. Like, they're not bots. They're not agents. They can be linked to automations. They can do a lot of stuff. You can turbocharge them a lot, but they're still there. Like, you cannot put an interface. Like, for example, I just built for my community and also as a portfolio to show potential clients how you can have big automations or agents in the back end done with N8N, which is the driving engine, but on the front, you have a nice app looking interface. So these are the things that you can do with other platforms that build agents and automations. You can wrap them into something nice. You can embed them. You can put forms. You can do all these other things. While with custom GPTs, you're stuck in the chat GPT interface.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not good, but the other thing with custom GPTs is they can be broken very easily. Like, if you give me any of your custom GPTs, I'll probably hack them in 5 minutes and I'll take all the information from there.
Oh, well, yeah.
And that's because
You're
they
giving,
are publicly available, but
so
the public cannot access your automations or your bots or your agents. Diana?
But the security, yeah.
Oh,
Honestly, I don't know what else to do. I just think I'm just being polite. So anyway, you bring up so many great points, and I will probably tap your shoulder or try and communicate with you once I figure out exactly what I'm trying to do. And what am I building an agent? Am I building a bot? Am I building this? Am I building that? Or am I building something in between? Because I know that I need automation to do these particular tasks if I'm going to keep my online business, or at least the LLC that I'm finding out is way too time consuming for me to actually try and do all by itself. So one suggestion that I was given was to write everything I'm trying to do down, right? Do it, and maybe either tape myself or write the actual tasks down that I'm actually doing, and then see how I can break those tasks down into pieces of things I can automate, or how much of those tasks I can automate, whether I build a bot, because I don't think I'm trying to get it to learn, except I just wanted to do refreshing whenever I want, but there's ways that I specifically want it done. So there, I just explained exactly what I'm trying to do.
yeah, so this is exactly what I like people to do. Like, first they write down the things they do, and then we wireframe. So before we build anything, we wireframe this process. And I just opened up one wireframe and I want to show you. I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. And sorry, I need to move stuff because I can't click on buttons. Okay, so this is a wireframe. This is a wireframe that has nothing to do with something being built. These are just squares and circles, and we just tell it what it's doing. And then we start breaking it into different things. And then we look at this process and we're like, is this what this process is supposed to look like? So before you start building anything, first thing is map out or write down exactly what you do and then wireframe it. You can do it in any mind mapping software. You can do it with pen and paper. It doesn't matter. But when you create a diagram or wireframe of what you're doing, you actually have a visual representation of the whole process. And only then you'll be like, okay, so which parts of this can be done by an automation, or do I need a bot here, or do I have to do it on my own? Because there's no way an AI can do it. So this is the best way to start working out your solutions. Also, when it comes to bots, and I know that so many people are trying to flog, they're peddling bots left and right. However, when we're talking about bots, especially on websites, number one thing is your website actually receiving the amount of traffic that you need to justify having a bot? Like, if you have 3 people coming to your website every month, maybe one of them may or may not use your bot. Very pointless if somebody's selling it to you for $5,000. But if, for example, you are a travel website and you have hundreds and hundreds of people coming through every day and they want to know all these things about your trips, probably a bot is a very, very good idea. Or a voice receptionist. You as a coach, for example, if you're a coach, you do not need voice receptionist. However, if you're a tradie, somebody like if you're a roofer and you get phone calls while you're putting tiles on the roof, and the last thing you want to do is take a phone call, a voice receptionist, an AI voice receptionist will be a very good idea. So always think about your own requirements, your own business, and your own processes before you take somebody else's advice of what you should be doing. Because people will sell you anything. Yeah. John, you've been very patient.
So I wanted to ask you about proprietary, self-built GPTs that are not within GPT. They're on their own. And so I've spoken to a couple of law firms, for example, that are very concerned about confidentiality and any interface, with the internet. So from the research I've done, proprietary GPTs take months to build and they are very expensive. So a small law firm of 3 attorneys isn't going to invest in that, for example. But I wondered what your thoughts on the proprietary is, which gets you out of the GPT, custom GPT that you were talking about earlier. Is that a worthy solution, or do you have something else in mind? Because you have all this great expertise. I wanted to pick your brain on that.
Yeah, so when it comes to really proprietary information, then the solutions are more like everything is hosted on local machines.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, N8N is an open source software
Mm-hmm.
that you can host on the cloud or you can host it on a local machine. So those lawyers can have a dedicated server or computer, and you don't have to have like a room that is a server. You just have to have a little bit of better computer to host that instance, like that software, and then all the proprietary knowledge will also be hosted locally, and nothing
Okay.
will go through the internet.
So
So
I have a
this,
second part of that question,
yeah.
if we still have time. And that is, I was going to type it in the chat, but what are you seeing companies use to do that? Your last slide, last point said monitor and track your metrics. And so again, if you use the law firm scenario, how are you making sure that everything is staying confidential, doing it the way you want it to, redacting documents, all the things that they have to do? What are companies using to actually track the metrics that you've seen within their system, whichever system they set up?
When you say metrics, what metrics are you talking about?
On your last slide, you said make sure that you monitor and track your metrics, and that's come up in discussions that I've had. In other words, leave a paper trail, make sure that you're tracking what you're doing, and then if you have to adjust something. So one is evidentiary, but then the other is just tracking your metrics. What are you creating? Is it doing it accurately? Are you keeping records of when you found something going off the rails and you had to monitor it, that sort of thing, or you had to adjust it, I mean.
Yeah,
Or
so
maybe
at
you're
the
not thinking
moment,
that deep.
yeah, at the moment, most people, when they're measuring if something is going the right way, it's manual. They just look at their stuff and they're like, is this what we
Okay.
actually need to look at? Like, for
But on a
example,
large on a
if
large scale, how is that feasible? If you have a large entity, how could they possibly manually, data handling is already off the charts, right? How are they going to monitor that aspect of their data? You think they have to do it manually? That would be a
you
deep.
can have you can create a self-checking agent, for example,
Okay, that's cool.
and one part will spit out a result, and then you have another part that is very rigid, that the
Mm,
instructions are like you have to look at these very specific measures and make sure that they are addressed.
It sounds like you
I
need a
see.
control. It
Yeah, like
sounds
a
like you
control.
need like a control, like you know how you have like one control and then another, you know how you clone certain things. I'm talking techie here. Like this is my past life as a systems engineer. There was like the main, you know, thing, and then there was the clone. And
Yeah.
we did
Mhm.
everything
A
with the
lot of the
clone.
times when you have very rigid measurements, you also use code to bring in very specific data rather than instructions like verbal or written instructions. So when you have a code that says, when you look at this table, for example, these are the exact things you need to bring in. It will always bring these
Okay.
exact things in.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So the more complex the solution is, the more complex the problem is, the more complex the solution is as well.
Hmm.
And that's when, like, you're not going to be testing, like, especially when you build something and you're testing, you're not going to be testing it on, 3,000 data points. You'll be like, let's try with these 5 or 10 things and see if it actually
Yeah.
delivers. Because if it delivers 5 or 10 things, then you can stress test it for 50, then you can stress test it for 100. And if it
Mm.
delivers at every single stress point, then you would be more or less confident that it will deliver for the 3,000 data points.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah. But the problem is that because custom GPTs are the most common solution to everybody's problem, people think that um, they can build solutions with custom GPTs that are extremely complex and that require
Hmm.
coding, that they require research, they require all these crazy things, databases, and you just cannot do it through the simple chat
Hmm.
GPT interface.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying always think of what you want to achieve and then find the best solution for that. And I'm not bagging on custom GPTs, like I have a million custom GPTs, but they're great for specific tasks that are not too data oriented. Now,
Hmm.
that'd be great for anything about content, marketing,
Hmm.
strategy,
Hmm.
things that are more, I want to say creative, although strategy is not creative, but things that,
Hmm.
yeah, like that, rather than you need to go to a database and assess the, last quarter versus this quarter. And then we need you to do all this other funky stuff. And then we want you to create a report that is in this specific format. And then we want you to make it look good. And then, we want to be able to print it. Like a custom GPT will get completely lost in all that.
I say
Oh.
test it first.
Yeah, but it's becoming too complex.
No, of course, I know. This related and not related. I saw something on LinkedIn where somebody got called out. There was an article about some high level person that used ChatGPT, prided herself, and it was her second brain, and couldn't explain something that ChatGPT produced.
I,
Had no
I saw
idea.
that
Like
too.
what?
Yeah, she could.
And
So,
Oh,
she
I
could,
saw that. Yeah.
and
She
I
did
and
all
I'm
these
thinking,
proposals for her agency, right? Didn't read them, didn't do the thinking behind it, just
yeah.
totally outsourced her brain
And
and
then
then
she
couldn't
couldn't.
answer any questions. It's like, oh my God, wouldn't that
duh.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first
I
thing that you
mean,
did?
I know.
At least
Oh,
that's, yeah. Now, Monica, are you doing several of these sessions? Because I went to one and now this one. I think you did one in between that I may have missed. Are you doing a series of these?
So
monthly.
Or is
We
this
monthly dawn in school, but you can
the
always
second one?
yeah, this is only the second one. So you didn't see
Okay, I thought I missed one. Because these are so in depth. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
yeah.
Darn it. I wish I'd have went to the first one, but now I will
Are you
look out
gonna
for you.
do
But
a session where you actually show us like hands-on? how to create the different ones?
Possibly. I don't know. I haven't thought.
I mean, that would be
You know
helpful.
what? I'll volunteer me. We'll make
Yeah,
one for
Yeah,
my
that I
business.
thought that would be helpful that we would like
maybe
see hands-on, like
maybe
something.
next time that'd be cool. This is great to get the foundations, and
Yeah.
then as we have homework and use cases that we're thinking about, and then come back, and maybe next time we play with actually or building something, or we have a play. And if there's particular platforms, if you covered off, Monica, where you're actually building these things, like I know Meg in N18, which I started playing with, it was like the most complex one. So it's like, let's just start swimming in the deep end of the pool. Like if we're giving everyone homework and just like what platform to go and use, find a use case, have a play. And I did get your spreadsheets you shared last time. That was really cool. And I started writing a list of what to automate. And there's just so much. And I got overwhelmed. I don't even know what is possible, but there's so much that could be possible that I'm like, oh, where do I start? And then I'm just like, oh my God. And so,
Yeah. So if you're looking at your own business, I would start with what annoys me the most.
Yeah.
Like which task annoys me the most
What's the
and which
tedious?
task
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
procrastinate, for 3 days
Yeah.
until I do it. I'd start there.
I've been procrastinating for months, but
Because
And
what I'm saying is there's so many now. Like before I gotta ask this question. I like what Raquel asked because in a way, I don't know, should I go ChatGPT? Should I go to Claude? Should I go to Perplexity? Which of these are you speaking strictly on ChatGPT? Like this is where people are creating these things mostly? Or like do you know if other like I don't even know. Like am I going to ChatGPT or am I building this elsewhere? I don't even know even how to begin.
yeah, as I said, it's always on use case by use case.
But so
What
I
do
can
you
do
want
this
to do?
anywhere
Yeah. So
else.
I think a helpful thing would be saying if we like was suggested if we come with different real life use case scenarios and then how you provided maybe that chart of this is best for this. If there are different programs out there, like some people may not even know all the different programs that you would use to build automation versus an agent versus a bot. So that's probably another step further where a lot of people don't even know all of the different tools out there to use. And then based on that, if you're looking for something that's maybe in this industry or you have to protect this, then these may be you may want to use this tool instead of this tool.
Yeah, so I think that what would help us with these calls, because like in my own community, I teach exactly the tools that I think we need to use. I teach how to use them. I give them templates. I teach all sorts of things. But with the She's AI, people are coming from very different businesses. And most of you guys are not looking to build a business where you're selling solutions. You're looking at things to build for your own business, right? So I think that, and I think Amanda will agree with me, is that if we have like a poll before the call and everybody puts some sort of problems or cases over um, you know, 2 or 3 platforms are the best to build it with. And this is kind of how you can start building it. Like this will help me run these calls
Yeah.
based on your requirements, because otherwise I'll go off the deep end and I'll tell you how to sell stuff,
No,
which
I
most of
appreciate
you
it.
are not doing. Most of you are running like Diana is running a dog products business. She doesn't want to sell LinkedIn agents to anyone.
yeah.
I'm
well, that's
trying.
interesting
That's
for the
really,
future. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we
but
do the poll. Yeah, we do the
Yeah,
poll
I think
before
that
the
would be
next
helpful.
course.
I'll tell you what, I'll have something and I'll contact Monica and I'm happy to make my tiny little business of no one buying anything the demo. I will volunteer that just in case anyone wants practice, okay? Like if anything. Only because it's great learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the beauty of this. The beauty is that I'm coming from, I need to fix this if this goes awry because I know what I'm asking it to do. And I just find it really interesting that people are just letting AI do, like, isn't there some, maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm just not that confident. Maybe I'm just a teacher who is always having to know everything she ever had to teach. I don't know. I might have that brain differently. Um, I just, to me, it's alarming and a surprise that you're trusting a bot or an agent further than you can control, I guess. I don't know. There's some semblance of control it needs to have.
I think we still have a lot of control over everything.
Hi,
Like,
Miss Dawn.
we don't need John
I
Connor.
And I don't know. I'm just saying that I trust humans in the end. I guess if I were the CEO of a large company, I would still trust humans in the end. There's something called accountability.
mhm.
And I'd be the idiot if I didn't have the director of finance and decided that a bot would be the director of finance. Why would
Right,
I
the
do
director
something?
of finance will be there, but the director of finance may have 3 people in their department and the rest will be done by bots.
Mhm.
But
Rather than
but
having
there's
20 staff that are calling people for no reason or people that are just entering data.
that's still a line of accountability is my point. It's not just
Okay. I'm going to
to
say
the man.
something that is going to sound harsh, but
Mm,
technology and progress doesn't care about opinion.
yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. But in the end, if anything were to go awry and it's your business,
Then you
you
have to
see
deal
what
with
I'm,
it.
there you go.
I
There
mean,
you go.
I guess I'm not on the opposite. I trust technology more than I trust people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Looking at like people in the current state of this world, I'm at the
Mm.
point where I trust technology a hell of a lot more than I trust people,
I
especially that person that's in our current administration, White House. Yeah. I
No,
so that's my I understand the accountability and thing, but for years we've seen people at the realm of ruling things and handling things. And I've been in finance, a heavily regulated industry, and the things that people do. So I'm trusting technology more than I trust people. That's just me.
no, hey, that's great that you have the experience to make that comment. I guess I'm just, to be honest, I'm, as the small business owner, I'm I'm looking at it in that lens. I'm looking at it in the lens. I'm also still working, and at the end of the day, it's still me that needs to solve the problem. You see what I mean? Whether or not I've meant to cause it or not, or whatever. I guess I'm thinking of it in that sense. And if I'm and as a manager, yeah, I want to know where this went wrong if I'm reliant on my staff. You see what I'm saying? But no, I don't blame you for your comment at all.
I only
Like I
like
said,
technology because it is no emotion, no drama, and nothing gets missed and everything. If everything's automated, then I can't miss an email. I can't be slow in following
Right.
someone up. I can't make a mistake because the robot never makes mistakes. It always knows the right way to navigate things. It's always 100% accuracy. There's no downtime, there's no emotion and drama. So from that respect, I don't know if that's what Raquel's saying, but I like that the machine's got no inaccuracy, no dramas and no bullshit where someone's not going to email you back and you have to chase them, you've forgotten or some shit, where I like
Right.
that respect to save time and automate and make sure that nothing gets lost in the loop and that humans know how to navigate things accurately and clearly. Like I ask my robot everything, it always knows the right way to navigate everything and the next step and clearly. But I need to automate my emails at the time to be responsive to everybody by
Yeah.
email. Where Monica will know, oh my God, I checked this, we're going to double check that, we're going to reply to this, I'm going to do that paper, we're going to do these emails. And we're doing so many things. So I've got a list of things I need to automate, and I do trust the technology in that respect because, yeah, just humans. But that's
I
where
Yeah,
agree.
well,
It's like,
yeah.
I also want to give you an example from real life. I would rather have a robot poking in my brain than a tired surgeon.
yes,
Yeah, true, true.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I will agree
I
there
heard
too.
from,
Yeah.
and I have a family full of doctors. So, so I
So,
understand the exhaustion they experience.
So, yeah.
at the end of the day, humans are fallible, unfortunately. I'm not going to say we're not. And the idea of bots is that they are made to be infallible in theory, right? That's
Theory, and
their
we like
point,
that.
is to
Apart
be.
from the one use case, you guys saw that some of the robots, was it Claude, Anthropic, and there's some of their developers that the bot did start blackmailing some of their developers.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I saw that
And we talked about that in the call the other
article.
day, and it started going, oh my God, Diane, you better, like, you do what I say, or I'm going to release all your personal, like, dirt that I've got on you. And the developer's like, oh my God. So there's things like that happening. So we're not saying, like, within the guardrails of, like, what it's going to run away and do if we don't control it. But yeah, again, I don't know. It's all evolving real fast, isn't it? Um,
Oh,
Evolving
that
fast.
is funny.
Yeah, it's pretty
Blackmailing.
funny. And it's like, oh, is that
That's
scary? Or do we just, like Monica said, just use it as a tool, and how do we train it and use it in the right way with those guardrails and not be scared of it, but it's got to just make it do its job. Yeah. But I'm thinking I'm gonna make a list of use cases because I would like next time, Monica, just like ironically the time it takes for me to get my head around automating something to save time, I just have to sit down and do it, you know, to actually
Mm.
automate the thing to then make it happen. So like automating responding to emails, automating like booking things in, getting back to people, drafting up follow-up notes from meetings, like taking the meeting notes, drafting them up, putting them in an email, following someone up in a timely manner. I don't even know if like, can you automatically accept meeting requests and make sure they don't double up things in your diary, things like that, that I'm going, oh, is that something it can do? Just like
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also want to be very aware of the level of tech skills people have. Because even
No,
if I give you the template, like I can give you a template right now, and I can guarantee you'll upload this template and you'll look at it like it's a, I don't know, a Neanderthal that you've never seen before. And it's like, what the hell do I do now?
yeah, yeah, totally get you. Yeah. Like I made a
uh,
simple, like automated one myself in N18 that had like 5 steps. Like, oh, go through my email inbox, simplify this, read this, tune out that, make me a post, post it here. Like I understood that much, but I get like you're at a whole nother level. So like just start somewhere easy that would just like you say, the pain points in my day are just like, yeah, content creation and emails, to be honest, for me. And then I've got a few clients asking for agents and like bots to go on their website. And as they get a more awareness of just having more automated customer service, that's a question that's coming up from people that want help in that respect. So that's a whole nother piece. But
Yeah, and this is where you need to suss out whether or not they actually need it. Because do they have, enough inquiries
Right.
to have a bot, or do they have
Like you're
one person complaining once a week?
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna start with Miro and draw out my tasks and make sure they're not random and tell you what I need. And then
Yeah,
you can tell me what I have to do.
yeah.
And
So, yeah,
I
that
and I will definitely get in touch with you, Miss Monica. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that wireframe that I showed you is actually a step-by-step process. It's not random stuff, I want this thing to happen here and I want this thing to happen here. It's actually we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. I actually just got Miro and suddenly it's my I'm a picture person. I'm very
Yeah.
visual when it comes to my learning. I can't, yeah, I need to see it, do it. I got to do all of that. I guess that's ultimately my role in AI. I have to know exactly what it is that I need in every step. Just maybe I'm that kind of a control freak. So I don't know. Anyway, but thank you. Thank you so much for this. I'm going to be
Yeah.
a frequent flyer of Monika Mileva class. Wherever you're at, I will be there.
Yeah.
I will
Thank you
stalk you.
so much for this, Monica. Like both of the classes have been very helpful
Yeah.
and informative. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank
And you
you.
guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's so much free stuff in there that is showing you,
Oh, can you drop the link? Is the link in there?
Yep. Hang on.
Are you your own company, Miss Monica?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And she's got her own community in school. You guys could go jump it out, jump and look at it. It's awesome. Yeah, I find it
I'm
really
gonna have
engaging
to
and
check.
fun. And like I would say, out of all the school communities, like every day you got something new that's actually really like clear and actionable and like fun. And you just like, hey guys, check this out. Oh, I built something new today. I built something new today. And like, look at this. And like, really cool. Like everyone's talking about, oh, how to make sales, make 10K a month, same old shit. Like, oh, here's a new prompt that I like. One is actually like, yeah, built some cool new shit. Like, go check it out. So it's very actionable. So follow her on school.
Yeah, I'd like
Check
to.
all of that. Yeah.
Amanda, I don't know if you saw that new bonus that you guys got that is a library of apps. You should have received your login details by
Oh,
now, which is that it's a
oh, that
paid
was.
library that you guys get for free.
I'll double check that. Oh my gosh. Yes,
Ooh,
that's cool. So you guys definitely got to check that.
thank
That's
you.
very cool. Yeah,
Thank
that's
Yeah.
awesome,
Yes,
So
my
Monica.
guys,
wallet will thank you.
if you want to learn how to build stuff like the proper way and see, how I do it and, see very specific templates, you can always join my community. Also, Amanda has a referral link for it.
Yeah.
Maybe she can drop it in the.
Oh yeah, I can put the invite link from her community to you guys. Oh,
Yeah.
and I'll
Oh,
drop that
thank
in again. I'll drop that in school again, as a shout out. And that'll be really cool. Do you want to
thank
thread guys for like automation thread in school, just like dropping your progress and questions and maybe Monica can drop in and
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
just
just dropped
realized
my
I
YouTube channel.
I appreciate you. However, I will find you. Sorry, I don't mean to sound
Oh,
creepy.
well, I am
No,
we'll
like
stalk
subscribed.
if
I
you click
am
on my
subscribed
name,
to your YouTube.
yeah, if you click on my name and you know how the profile comes up and you'll see all my socials.
Yeah.
Like you can subscribe and I'm probably most active in Facebook
Oh,
and on YouTube.
I see your school thing here. Awesome.
Ooh, I see this. I see Monica AI. I see your YouTube.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, money
Thank you very much for this. I've got plenty of Miro sheets. I'm going to be Miroing away. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, and Amanda, I don't know if you left under last time's workshop that we did. Did you leave the spreadsheet there? Did you put the spreadsheet so people can use it?
I will double check that. I would like to think I did, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
I will.
I don't think you did.
Okay, I'll make sure we drop that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good. I'll make sure we've got
Because it's a really nifty little sheet that helps so much to kind of visualize your own, task flow and everything.
Yeah, that was real cool. No, I'll drop that in there again because I think I've still got those open in my browser. I do. I pinned them last time because I was still looking at them. They haunt me every day. They're looking at me going, fill me out, sit down and work on it. Oh my God. Yeah, I just need to sit down and look at them again. I'll share them in school. I'm getting
So
your
where,
community share link. Yeah, sorry.
wait, where are these? Are these in the courses and events? Trying to find where you're putting everything.
Uh,
I'm on school.
in school, in the classroom, and there's a Monica's calls
Oh,
replays,
okay.
and there's one there, and then
I
I'll
see.
make sure I do a post like last time, and then link any links and tools from there in a post. And I'll just put another thread in there. I'll try and make that sure that that's really clear and link stuff in there.
Oh, I see now.
And you see
Oh, I
that?
see now.
So I'll just double check that I'm putting everything there and that it's really clear. Yeah.
This is okay, so it's in classroom. Would it be AI automation with
Yeah.
Monica?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'll just double check
Okay,
that
I
I
will
put those
absolutely.
links in there. Yeah. What else, Monica? That's cool. I'll put the referral link, YouTube, and then people can find your socials. I'll put those spreadsheet links in that again. This replay will go up in your little classroom corner so you guys can get that again. Yeah. And then you guys just drop in school or connect with Monica. You got any questions in the meantime? And we'll look at those spreadsheets and then we'll come back next time. Our homework is to either have mapped out something or have some use cases we want to work on. Yeah. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. And also, guys, join us again tomorrow for Monica's masterclass, where we're going to also do something cool. It's our public masterclass is also on tomorrow morning. If you just want to come in and have another chit chat with Monica and do something else cool tomorrow, that's on as well. Yeah. If
Tomorrow, what time? I guess it's in
I think it's the
school.
same time, isn't it?
time tomorrow, if you can do that. I know it's a busy time of day, but yeah, same time tomorrow. That's just how
Okay.
it worked
Well,
out. And yeah, so hopefully you guys can join us
well,
as well.
if it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, then I'm there.
So there's another master class tomorrow.
Yes, that's our public masterclass series that Monica happened to. They just happened to line up like this in the same week, which is amazing. So that is tomorrow. That is advertised on school and on Facebook and LinkedIn. There's events live up there,
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that.
and it's in the classroom in
Yeah,
school.
there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on it already. Yay, it's on my calendar. Wonderful.
Yay! Nice. Yay! Oh, that's cool, guys. All right,
This
should
is
we?
excellent.
Yeah. All right.
No, I know that I have a lot of work to do, but no, you made me think a lot today. That's very good. I'm glad that you did that. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, guys. So
Yeah.
I'll see you
You
tomorrow,
go.
or I'll
Yeah.
see you in the community.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bye.
Monica. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See
Thank
ya.
you.